Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
uh, you know, we were discussing in the last week, we were discussing about the reports and Indian reports. I think we explored about simple reports and advanced report. And then when I think we shared some definitions of other type of reports. Total, we have 8 kind of reports in Workday, in which generally we are going to design 2 kind of reports. One is simply a simple report, other is advanced report. And also, if you go in the reporting space, if someone is asking for analytics, then you will work on matrix report as well. The mostly the main report which will be used in the integration, that is advanced report. And I think you might have remembered the difference between the simple report and advanced report. Can anybody, I mean, if I ask you, if I share your name, can you guys just say one difference between simple report and advanced report? If I ask, yes, if I do Shalini, like what is the difference between simple and advanced report? Can you just keep one point? In advanced report, we can use to display the report on web browser. No, sorry, come again. We can enable that facility to look that report on web browser like in advanced report, but in simple we cannot do that. And other things are like only for things we can do on simple report, but in advanced we can do shortings and all. No. Wait, pull on Shalini. The first point which you say it like in advanced report, we can see details on the browser. Is that mean you're trying to say like in advanced report we can enable that advanced report as a web service? Because you will be able to see both the reports in browser only, right? I mean simple, I mean I understand. The terminology should be in this way, like simple report cannot be enabled as a web service. However, advanced report can be enabled as a web service. That should be your first point. And what is web service? We know the web service, it's a you can understand as a way from which two systems talk to each other over internet. I mean, how exactly we enable advanced report as a web service? Now, not you, Shalini. Let's be concerned. Ruthie, can you explain how can we enable one advanced report as a web service? While creating the advanced report, we have one option, one checkbox, right? We can click on the checkbox. That report will be enabled. And now let's say when you are creating one report and you did not check, that checkbox and you already created. You did not check and you created a custom report. Now, after creating custom report, if you want to enable that report as a web service, how can you do that? We have one option, right? Output option, right? She output or a different check. It's basically advanced tab, and what options we have? Advanced tab. Enable as the web services. And what happens when you enable the web service? I mean, if you created a report and that report is not a web service enabled report, and later you are trying to create that report as a web service enabled, when you check and click, what are the differences you see in the column tab? This will be your activity. What you need to do is you create a custom report. You add, 4, 5 fields, any fields of time, but initially don't enable that report as a web service. Now we know to create that report, you took the screenshot of the column tab. And then we know the second step is to enable that record as a web service. And when you enable that report as a web service, then again, take one snapshot, compare both the snapshot and, just let me know the differences. I mean, this activity will be for everyone. I think, can I say the answer? I don't know. If we don't do that enable, if it's not there, then we cannot see that XML part, the XML field. XAV alias field. That's a correct answer. That's a correct answer. That's what you know. I wanted to hear, but we know this is something, you just try. I mean, after you create, you just take the screenshot and try to compare, like, what is the difference you want. If you are enabling a report as a web service letter. What I want to, convey is basically, I just want you guys to, understand the differences. Because, when you will go, then your terminology should be correct. The concept should be correct. The differentiate should be correct. That's why I'm asking them. I keep asking these questions and, don't shy, guys. If if you think whatever you think, whatever is coming in your mind, you just, tell that, that helps me to understand, like, whether you are understanding the concepts or terminologies. What are those? That is, definitely going to help you guys, Now next question. My next question is what is? This is for you, Lakshmi. What is the differences between filter and sub-filter? Filter, it applies to the business primary object, primary business object, and the sub-filter we should apply for only for the related business object. Yes, that's correct. And that's correct. And can you, say, apart from the points mentioned by, Shalini, can you just, give me one more difference? Difference in between, simple report and advanced report. That's correct. Leica, you're right. Leica web service is the first one enabled as a web service. If we select as a simple, we don't get that option. If we and the another one is we only can do see, sort and filter in those simple reports, but we in the advanced report we can do more options like output, and especially that prompt options. We can make a output as a different interface. We can make as a difference prompt output and the advanced options. Basically, couple of differences talked about here. One more point, Ganesh. We cannot share simple reports. We can share the advanced reports. Yes, that's correct. And another point is we can't share the simple reports. No, we don't have any option to share a simple report with other people. But we have C basically. The basic thing is in simple report, you will be having very limited options. And in advanced report, you will be having many more options. In simple report, you just have, 3 columns, 3 tabs. One is column, then sort, and then filter. But whereas in advanced custom report, you will be having share, soft filter output, advanced tab, there are many other options. Simple report cannot be enabled as a web service. Advanced report can be enabled as a web service. Oh, just a moment. I'm getting one. And a simple report allows only a one business object. But advanced reports, it allows business objects and related business objects also. That's great. Basically, now you guys are visualizing the differences between simple and advanced report. I mean, there are many differences actually. You just try to, remember all those differences. Because when you will remember the differences, you will understand the importance of, other tabs in advance. Here, basically, when you enable one advanced report as a web service, you get additional columns in the column tab. XM alias is not there before. But when you enable, then you will be able to see XML alias field as well. Those are the things you need to understand in advanced reports. At a very high level, you know very good. I think this custom reports are very much clear to you guys. But the terminology. When you speak about something, there is something should be clear. This primary business object, the use of the terms. The primary business object, the related business object. The filters of filter XML alias. What are those things? Those are the things you need to understand. When you convey anything to you, know someone else. Basically, I think you're good. If you guys are having any question in, custom report which you want to ask, let us discuss that. Then, I'll just proceed with the calculated foods. Do you have anything, Lakshmi? Or no, I'm good. What is this Prisma after worksheet? There is option called Prism. Oh, see, Prism is something Prism is kind of, one of the integration tools. That's a different, separate, technology inside Workday, separate tool inside Workday. And that tool is used to extract data from other sources. Prism is something, even I have not worked on, Prism. That's a different, analytics tool. The main use of Prism is like, to extract data from other sources and load data into Workday. For, Prism, we generally build data sets and all those things. See, like Workday Integration, that is a separate, training system session for Prism. If you want to understand just, definition of that, I'll be able to help you. But even I don't know, details about Prism. I know what that is. I have seen, but we generally don't use in integration. Thank you. Any other question? But I'll share, the details of, something if in this Senate, if there is anything, if someone has created Prism and, I'll show you. And then just, make note of that, Shalini. When we complete the course, then, these are the things also, we can discuss. Any other question, guys? Now, let's proceed with calculated fields. Basically, in Workday, I have shown you too many fields. You might be, when you are creating, custom reports, then you are also dealing with, some of the fields. Right now, you have created custom reports on only, worker business object, mostly worker business object. Later, when you will actually start working on, you will, start creating reports on many more, business objects. Right now, I think you use worker as a primary business object, dependence as a related business object, or location as a related business object, something like that. Now see, the thing is, what I'm trying to say here is we have many fields here in Workday. If you open this profile, here everywhere, even if whenever you go in the summary tab, job tab, personal tab, everywhere there are a lot of data. You are building reports on this data. But not to build a report, you just need to understand where exactly this data is stored. How exactly that data is related to the primary business object, that is worker. That is how you are creating a custom report. Now you are good with the object, the data. You know the reporting part. You're good with that. Now let's say, in summary, you can see these many fields. Or in job, wherever you can see, many fields. When you click on job, you can see many fields in organization. There are many fields. Any value, many values. Now let's say, based on this phase, you need to derive something. Let's say someone is asking you to generate, which is not there in Workday. Someone is asking you to change the format of the date, which is not being used in Workday. What exactly you're going to do in those cases? Let's say, for example, someone asked you to, send security key in one of the fields security key. Security key. Now this security key doesn't exist in the Workday. This is not in Workday. When you said this security key field is not in Workday, what that person told you, that person told you to, told you the logic to derive the security. The logic to derive security key is first two character of your first name. First two character of your first name. Then the last two character of your. Then let's say the first two character of your last name. Then let's say data. Day of birth. Day, not date of birth. Let's say only day, and let's say day plus month. Day plus month. This is your security. Let's say my name is Ganesh Kumar. And let's say my date of birth is. Let's say. Then the ID will be. This is the ID. This is the security key. For me, for my profile. Now if you see in Workday, wherever you go, I mean, if you go in the job details organization, which is employment data, personal details, contact details, you can, you will not be able to find the security key in the Workday. But you have to send this security key to one of the downstream system. They are asking you, or let's say you require that fail for the analysis purpose. You want that field in the report. How exactly are going to do that? Here in the custom report, what you have done is you have used the fields which has already been delivered by Workday. Now what we are talking about is if there is if fields are not available in Workday, but we can derive that field value based on the existing values in Workday. That is what is calculated field. Based on existing value in Workday, you are deriving some other value. The way we are going to derive that value, that is what we call calculated field concept. The field in with the field which will hold the value, we call calculated field. Here you can see the first name here. You can see the last name. If you go to the personal information, you will be able to see date of birth as well. But nowhere you will be able to see security. You need to derive the security. The calculated field definition is how exactly we are going to create. This is something we will learn later. The calculated field is basically based on existing field. New values are derived. And this is what we call calculated. An equation till here. I mean, what exactly I mean by existing phase? What exactly I mean by, the new field? I mean, you guys are clear, right? You know the existing fields and the new fields. What is calculated field? It's like you might have done coding in your spaces. When you did coding, I think you might have tried to create variables. You might have created variables, and in variables you might have used that variables in any function or any another variable where you are doing the arithmetic calculation as well. When you run the for example in Java, Python, anywhere you worked on any kind of coding. There if you define the variables, if you assign some arithmetic calculation whenever you compile the code or whenever you run the code, what exactly that does is, whatever variables you assign to them, it exactly that calculation is going to use those variables and do that arithmetic calculation. The similarly here, what we have is, we have some, it's not a variable, it's not a kind of variable, we are defining here. But what we are doing is here, we are just using the existing fields from the Workday, and using those existing fields, we are trying to create some runtime calculation. Basically, here in this, for this particular example, we have first name field in Workday. We have last name field in the Workday. We have date of birth in the Workday, but we don't have security key. We don't have the security key in Workday. We are going to use this fields. We are going to apply some functions on this phase, and we are going to create one calculated. Whenever in integration or in reporting or in any business process, when that calculated field will run, that will calculate this. Security for me, for everyone during runtime. Where exactly this calculated fields are used. You can use, calculated fields in reporting, in custom reports. In custom report, you can use these fields anywhere in column tab, in filter tab, sub filter tab. Sorting tab, or you can use in prompts tab. Everywhere you can use this calculated fields. Why? How exactly we are going to use this in custom reports. Let's say, you created a custom report You have already created a lot of custom reports now. Let's say you created a custom report where you have mentioned the first name, last name, date of birth. Now we know someone is asking to add one more field, security key. What you are going to do is you are going to design a calculated field, and that calculated field you are going to add in your custom report. When you will run the custom report, it will derive the value, the security key value for all the workers in the system. And it will show you as a report. That's one that is one of the use of calculated field in the system. The second is business processes. Business processes are like, I'm not sure whether you guys understand or already know business process, but I can help you with one example. Basically, let's say in your company, you joined the company. Now you already completed 2 years in the company and management had decided to, promote you in the company. What will happen? When your manager will start the promotion for you, what will happen? The first thing is going to happen is that that request will be sent to manager for approval. That's how that will be the first step. Now, when you get promoted, definitely your salary will be increased. Your designation will be, promoted. Could be you start getting, additional benefits. Like, you get additional, leave balances. Or maybe, you get additional enrollments in some of the programs. You can get many things. Basically, when you get promoted, when all of these things get involved, then that requires approval from you, from each and every admin. Business processes are something, it's a flow. The first step is I requested something. The second step is my request was sent to my manager for approval. Now, if manager approves, it will go to another step. If manager deny or ask me to correct something, it will come to me. Business processes are stepwise instructions in the Workday. Like, the first step, this has to be done. The second step, this has to be done. It's a kind of, approval process. Maybe, you might have experienced those things in your company. Like, you ask for something and they said, I have raised the request. But that is, under approval. From someone is, payroll admin or, the delivery manager, something like that. That's what is business process. It's a, in one line, if you say it's a stepwise instructions. When we say a stepwise instructions, there also it could be like, you want to display something like this. If you're hiring someone, if the first name length is more than 20 characters, you want to tag something in that name. You want to tag something in that name. In this case, basically when you start hire business process, it gets data from the candidates. And as soon as it gets in the next day, you added a validation. If the length of the first name is more than 20 characters, then this will be tagged. Basically here the length of the first name. This length of the first name is not a failed in Workday. This length of the first name or length of any string is not a failed in Workday. What I was talking about business process. In this business process, I have to write one validation. If first name length of first name is greater than 20 characters, then tag some value. This is just an example. It's not a real-time example. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is, if you need to build some conditions in the business process, this is one kind of condition. This length of first name field doesn't exist in the system. You need to use this condition. Like you need to identify the length of the first name string, but this field doesn't exist in the system. What you're going to do is you are going to create a calculated field for this one, and you're going to use that calculated field. You're going to use that calculated field, and that calculated field will determine the length of the first name. And accordingly, business processes will execute the second string. That's how we know. Basically, the first uses is in the reporting. The second use is, business process. And the next third use is integration. There are many places in integration. Also, you're going to use this calculated fields. Basically, first of all when you will be, using calculated field in reporting, you are going to use same report in the integration as well. When you are going to use same report in the integration, that means by default you are using those calculated field in the integration. That's one thing. The second thing is now, let's say when when you create an integration and when you need to run that integration. During integration run, maybe you can give the value. Let's say you created one integration which is giving data between last integration run and today's integration. Let's say there is one integration 1001. What this integration is doing? Getting worker details. Worker details from last integration run till current integration run. What I'm trying to say here is, let's say in the company, let's say 20,000 workers are there. On the very first day, you send details from Workday to, let's say, people. You send details of 20,000 workers. Next day in the system, in Workday system, only 20 employees changes their data. Only 20 employees changes their data. Basically, next day, you need to send only data of 20 employees. You already sent 20,000 worker data. You have already sent those 20,000 worker details are already there in the ADP system. Now 20 employees have changed their data. Now when this 20 employees are changing their data on the very next day, you need to send only 20 worker details. Send only 20 worker details. Here also what you need to say, when you will create integration, then in that integration during runtime, you need to understand what was last integration done. And what is current time? Current date and time. Here also you are deriving something. Basically, from some values, you are trying to derive the last integration runtime, and you are trying to derive, current data. And I'm seeing what they have. Some, fields current date and time. You can use direct. If see the basic one drive, if the fields are already there in Workday, you need to use that field only. But let's say if there are fields in the, if Workday is not having those fields, but you need to, use those fields. That is something you need to create that in the system. Sometimes what will happen. Like, you will be having one field. For example, independent, there is one field or relationship. In Workday, the in worker business object, there is no field, with the name relationship. Now you want to use that relationship field from dependent to primary business object. That field is actually on related business object, but you want to use that field on the primary business object. In those cases, we have again one, calculated field, that is lookup related value calculated field. We can create one calculated field that brings related business object details on the primary business object. There are many features. Here in integration, to derive some data, for scheduling the integration, like, every day when the integration is running, every day integration has to determine, like, what was the last integration run date and time. That is dynamically calculated. You cannot every day, just go in the system and just put the time. Like, you need to run, the integration between yesterday 2 p.m. today's 2 p.m. See, we don't need to do all those things manually. We are going to create a calculated field. We will assign that calculated field is going to, it's like the value during runtime, and using the integration. Basically, the use of this calculated fields are very wider in the system. And reporting is a very simple use. Like, you're going to use that calculated field as a normal delivered field. The naming convention and everything will be different. Definitely that you will be able to identify whether this is calculated field or this is a Workday delivered field. The second thing is in business process to define a condition. Let's say you need to build some condition on something which is not there in the system. That is a very custom. Your client has requested very, custom logic to build some condition. In those cases, you need to design calculated field, and you can use those calculated field in, creating conditions in business process. And the last is integration. In integration also, you are going to use calculated fields and many places. Gradually when I'll start, showing you what is calculated field, how that is being used in the system, then you are going to relate and understand. But at a high level, did you guys understand, like, what is, calculated field and how exactly we are going to use, where exactly we are going to use? We will, get to know when people actually start designing that calculated fields. Ganesh, can we say in that way, like calculated field, which are the field which are created by us if it's not present in the Workday? See, calculated fields. We are the one who is going to create calculated fields. It is that the one like a hire date, which one is provided by the Workday, and some other hire dates are those the custom? I mean calculated fields, Ganesh. We see the one time I added the column as a hire date. And you've got many options there. And those are the, in that case, as you can see, even you can understand, like, which one is calculated field, which one is derived field. Sorry, which one is delivered field. What you can do is, you can simply just go to related action, and there you will be able to understand whether that is a delivered one or the calculated field. Any other question? Now there are some, characteristics of, calculated field. For each and every calculated field, there are some characteristics. Let me show you. Characteristics of calculated field. The first one is calculated field will always be, based on existing data. Because, to derive some value, you need some values. You cannot just simply, derive well, now derive some values. We know it's not like. You're going to derive some constants and all you're going to use that in, calculated field also. But the main purpose of the calculated field is to derive something which is not there in the Workday system using the data which is already there in the Workday system. The first characteristics is this is based on, the existing data in the Workday. Then the second characteristic is calculated field. Always derive values during runtime. It will always be calculated at runtime. Let's say if I create one calculated field, which is extracting this, security key from, this penny field. It doesn't mean like, if you, let's say, if I create a safe security key on worker, let's say I created this. This is a calculated field. When I'll create this calculated field, it doesn't mean this calculated field is storing these values. This calculated field is not storing these values. Whenever you use this calculated field is going to calculate these values during runtime. During runtime means whenever you are running the report, whenever you are running the integration, whenever business logic, business processes are getting triggered. In these cases, this, calculated field is going to derive security key. It's not going to hold the value of this, security key. And the third characteristics is calculated field will always be associated to any one business object. Always it will be associated with business object. Business object means even right now, whenever you are creating any custom report and whenever you are using any field, those fields you are using from business object. Right. In advanced report, you cannot add any fields which is not in any business. To add fields, you need to, give business object first. Then only now you will be able to add fields. Similarly here also, when you need to, create calculated. When you will create a calculated fields, that business object will be mandatory field. All the calculated fields will be associated with business object. We'll see, quickly. We will see like, how exactly this looks like. Now the next is, there are two kinds of calculated field in the system. One is system-wide. System-wide calculated field. See, always in Workday, whenever you see CF, you try to understand that is a calculated field. When you see C, whenever you join any company, or even you should use, this format. C or when you will see, you just understand custom report. Whenever you see CF, that means calculated field. If you see wherever ISU means integration system users. IS will come later. Then there will be term ISSD. Whenever I use these terms, whenever I explain this term, just try to remember what that means is. And for Workday, we will simply, we will write WD. That means Workday. It's just the thing which we make convention in the company and that convention will use everywhere in the system. It's not fixed. Here, maybe your company is here. Like you don't, they don't want to use C, R as a customer report. They want to use wrap. It depends. In business company to company. Anyways, Whenever you get this kind of thing, then decide to understand some of the terms. I'll note it down. What exactly this means? Here in calculated, we have two kinds of calculated. One is system-wide calculated field. Another is report-specific calculated field. System-wide calculated means that can be used across the tenants. System-wide can be used across the tenants. Across the tenants means, like if you create a system-wise calculated field, you will be able to use that calculated field in the report, in the business process, in the integration, wherever you want. You will be able to use that calculated field anywhere in the tenant. Whereas report-specific calculated fields are, these are specific to reports. You might have seen whenever you might have seen when you try to explore one custom report. For example, if I open one custom report, let's say Lakshmi custom, Lakshmi created a lot of report. Let's use one, Lakshmi advanced report short filter. Let's use this. If you see, there is one option calculated field for report. From here, you can also create a calculated field. When you will create a calculated field from the report like this, that will be report specific calculated field. That can only be used in this report. That cannot be used anywhere in the system. If you try to find that calculated field, in another integration or in another business process, you will not be able to find that calculated. That report specific calculated field is specific to the reports. There are two kinds of calculated fields. We have system-wide calculated fields and report-specific calculated fields. You can convert, report-specific calculated field to system-wide, and you can convert, system-wide to report-specific as well, based on the requirements. Now it is, generally, what I know is nobody is creating report-specific calculated fields, to be honest. But it could be, some scenarios where you require to create. We generally, I have experience of, 8 to 9 years in Workday now, but I have never created any reports. Specific calculated bill. Mostly, we use system-wide calculated bill because, I know like not today, maybe, someday later I need that calculated field in some other system as well. I need that calculated field for some other report as well. Generally, we use system-wide calculated. Now, let's the next stop. The task which we know used to create the calculated field is create calculated field. Here in Workday if you go, we know report specific calculated bill. You got it right. Basically, you need to open any custom report. If you want to create any calculated bill for that specific report, you can just go to the related action. You will see one option, option like a calculated bill for report. And then you will be able to see option create calculated field. When you create a calculated field using this navigation, you are creating a report specific calculated field which will not be available. Any which will not be available, in any other integration or in any other, recourse. If you try to use that calculated, this will only be used in this custom rate. Now let's say, now let us know about like how exactly we can create a system-wide calculated bill. The system-wide calculated fields you can create using one task. The task is create cal field, create calculated field. When you type, this work, this has such tool is, really advanced. If tenant is slow, that's a different thing. But this Workday, search tool is very advanced. You just need to type recall field. And this, you will be able to, get the task. Now you click on this task. See, this is how, we create a calculated bill. You need to give some name. You need to give some name of the calculated field. Then you need to associate that calculated bill with any one of the business object. Here you can see like all this 3 is star mark. You cannot skip anything. You have to enter everything. The first of all, you need to enter the name of the calculated field. The second step is you need to associate that calculated field with one of the business object. With one of the business object. It could be any business object based on the requirement. It doesn't mean like, you need to create one calculated field on the absence business object and you're creating on worker business object and you want to use that field across the, tenants. That's not going to happen. You need to understand the relevant business object. If you are working in absence space, the business object should be relevant to absence space. Only if you are working on, worker details and you need to create a calculated field. Mostly it should be created on worker business object. That is something you need to determine and that is something we'll get to know when we will actually start creating calculated field. Here, when you type the task create calculated field, you will be having 3 things which you need to fill mandatory. The first name is, you need to enter the field name, the calculated field name, and then you need to associate that field with one of the business object. And then you need to add the function. Workday offers many kind of calculated fields. Workday offers many functionalities of calculated field. You need to use one functionality at one time. Basically, let me show you here. If you click on the functions, you will be able to see 32 options. See, these are not check boxes. These are option button. You can select only one. These are the function. These are the functions which calculated field is offering. Most of the functions you will be able to understand via the name itself. But we are going to create, calculated field for all of these functions. Maybe, by tomorrow we will, create calculated field for half of the function if tenant was fine. We know we are going to start, create calculated field tomorrow. Basically, we will be having these many, functions. These many functions such as aggregate, related in sense, arithmetic calculation, build, date, concatenate, takes, convert currency, count. Related in sense a date constant difference. Extract single instant, multi-instant, then you have format date. Then you have some function for substring takes. Then you have something called true false condition. Take claim, take constant. You will be having a lot of functionalities there. Right now, looking at all these functions, one thing is clear. Whatever values Workday has given, if we need to design any new value, any new fail based on the Workday delivered data, we will be able to create using all these functions. We will be able to design calculated field which will give us the required result. And we are going to use all these functions in those calculated fields. For example, the first example which I have given to your security key. In security key, what I have said is I need first 2 characters of the first name, then first 2 characters of the last name, then your day of birth and month of birth. In this case, the first thing is how exactly you are going to calculate is. First of all, you are going to use three fields. First name. You are going to use last name, then you are going to use date of birth. Let's say, mention some values as well. My first name is Ganesh. My last name is Kumar. My date of 1792. I just changed the format. Actually not. My date of birth is not in this format. My date of birth is actually in this format 207-1992. Now I need to derive this value. This one very exactly, that is I need to derive this value. I need to derive this value. What I need to do is, first of all, I need to get two characters from here. I need to get the first two characters of here. How exactly I'm going to, get that? There is one function in calculated field, substring function. From substring function, what we will do is, from this string, I'm going to use the first two characters. Similarly for Kumar, also I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use substring function. This is one calculated field. This is for CF. This is your second CF. Now this one, basically right now, the date is in this format. I can use substring, but when I'll use substrings, I will get one slash. I will get one slash, right? One slash here. I don't want this is not part of the security key in security key. I just need 0107. There are multiple ways of extracting this. The first one is you just convert this date into this format. You just extract this date in this format. And you extract the first four characters. The second thing is you use this field. Again, use a substring function in the first substring function. Extract 01 in the second substring function. Use 07. You will be having two more calculated. One calculated field will hold your data of the day of birth. The second calculated field will hold your month of birth. There will be two calculated fields there. The first CF, second, third. We have four calculated fields. Again, I have created four calculated fields, but still, I have not derived this value. This value is still, not came. I just have derived the initials, some part of the security. What we need to do is, once all these calculated fields are created, second CF or third and fourth as well. Third and fourth. Now, what you need to do is you need to create another calculated field, fifth calculated. And in this fifth calculated field, what you are going to do is you are going to use concatenate function. And in this concatenate function, you are going to use all these first CF, second CF, third, fourth CF, fourth CF, and then you will get this security key. Here, what are the functions we used? We use suffering functions here. If you are formatting date, then you are using formatted functions. And here, if you are using, concatenation, then you need to use concatenate function. Here you are using another function which is concatenate function. To extract the value, this value I have used different type of functions, that is offered by calculated. Now when at this point of time you are not able to understand what these functions are, how many functions we have, what is the purpose of each and every function. This is just an example. This is something the substring function called catenate function we are going to understand in detail. We are going to create calculated for each and every type of functions. Now here, coming back to Workday here, if you see, you will be having many functions. You have many functions. What you need to do from our side. Let's say someone is asking to derive some values. This logic, you have to think in your mind how exactly you can create that value. When you understand the logic, I need first to character. That means I need to use a string function. If you get all those things, then you will be able to create calculated fields very easily. Tomorrow we will talk about, we will start about all these functions and whatever we have, in calculated fields, and we will create. We will create calculated fields in most of the for most of the functions. And we will understand how exactly. Now how exactly we are going to test once we can create a calculated field. If what we will be doing is we will create calculated fields, we will create a one custom report. Each and every one create your own custom report. Each and every one create your own calculated fields. When you create a calculated fields, you add those calculated fields in the custom report, and then you can test. You just run the calculated, you just run the report, and then you will be able to understand what is the result you are getting. Whether that calculated field is calculating correct values or not. That's how we are going to understand, tomorrow, till here. Do you guys have any question? No. Go. I'm sorry. A calculated field is something which allows you to derive some new data. There's not existing data from the existing Workday delivered data. Is that right? Is that right? Yes, yes. And we can do that in business process, in integrations and reports. I mean, wherever in the system, if any field value is required which is not there in the Workday, there we are going to use calculated fields. At a high level, you're just a beginner in Workday, right? That's why I just mentioned, 4 areas. I mean, everyone mentioned that, but these are the examples of those. These are the examples of those. When you will actually start working in the Workday system, let's say you move to the functional part. Let's say you need to create a time of plan. When you are creating a new time of plan or new leave plan, they are also, you would need to define the eligibility right. Like, Indian employees would apply this leave. Australian employees should apply this leave. Basically, you are determining some conditions. Wherever those conditions are required, you are going to design calculated. These are two types, like system-wide, and the other one is on reporting. Report-specific calculator. I mean custom report. Specific which custom report, specific one is read. We use it based on the client requirement. I mean, generally we don't create, report specific calculated field. But let's say, I need to create one calculated field which will not be widely used in the system, Instead, you know that will be used in this custom report only. Then you can go with the report specific calculated. Basically, we have two kinds of calculated, specific calculated and, system-wide calculated. Now to maintain report specific, see I showed you like how exactly you can create a report specific field. You can go to report and in the report you will be having that related action. In related action, you will see created terminal calculate field for report and there you can see create calculated field. Now, if you want to maintain that calculated field, you will be having one option, one task maintain. Calc field for report. When you will get, you need to enter any report name. I don't know any report name, they are calculated fields up there. Basically, if you want to maintain the calculated field for one custom report, you will be having one task, come in 10 calculated field for report. In this, task, what it will give you is, let's say, you have created, 5 calculated fields on one custom report. You just enter the custom report name, click, and it will show you all those 5 calculated fields. Now, if you want to, 80, those calculated field. If you want to delete those calculated fields, then you will be able to do that. Here, let's say, let's create one calculated field and let's see, how this is happening. This is, Lakshmi's report. I'm going to use that one only. Here, if I go and create calculated field for report, then see if once report the specific field on worker. Here function, let's say I'm giving substring function, string click. Click. Now here the field which I want to use is first name. This is the first name. Then I want to use position, fixed position. I want to say the startup position is 1. And I want 3 characters. I'm just giving 3 characters. 3 characters. And until end of text field. Now remove leading filling spaces. Now click. Now I created one calculated field for the report. This is the calculated field name. Now in this report I need to use a calculated field. Go to report. Go to report. Add first name. Add name of the field. Add film file. I got that field. I got that field. Click. First, let me show you how exactly the report output will look. I added better than Z101 2024. There is just maybe no, she has used some other filter. Here, if you see what I did is from the very first position, I have extracted 3 characters. This is the first name here. If you see, this is the first name. The first name is Alex and this is a calculated field which I have created And here you can see that there are only 3 characters starting from the first position, LA, right? This is what calculated field does, is this field is not storing this value. Instead, this field is calculating value during runtime when I clicked on run, when I entered the parameter and clicked on, then only this is being calculated and displayed here on the screen in the report. This is how calculated fields are used. Now, what I am trying to show you is maintain calculated field for the report. Let's copy this report name, maintain calculated field for report, and click this one. Click this one. Then here give the report name, click. In this report, basically, we have just one calculated field. We have created with just one calculated field, and as this calculated field is in use, we don't have any delete option here. Or maybe, no, we don't have access. That is something I need to check. But here in detail calculation, here you will be able to see the list of all the calculated fields which has been created on this custom report. And here you can see edit functionality has been given. If you want to edit this calculated field, you can just click on this button. You will be able to edit that calculated field. If you want to add new calculated field, you can simply click on add new. You can add many more calculated fields on this custom report. This is report specific field. Now, if you want to maintain the system wide calculated field, one more thing before we proceed. One more thing. If you want to convert a system wide calculated field into, if you want to convert a report specific field in the system wide calculated field, you will be having one task convert calculated field for report. Here again you need to let's give the report name. I already copied report name business object. I want to convert on worker business object, and then I need to give the field name. There should be one field. I'm not getting a moment. What was you see here? This is the field. See a first report specific field on worker. I just click on, then click, and then it will be converted a system wide calculated fields. Now this field is system wide calculated field is system wide calculated field. Field is not a report specific calculated field. The task is convert calculated field for the report. If you want to maintain calculated field for the system wide calculated field, let me show you how that looks like. You just type maintain. Calculated field, maintain calculated fields. And here see in our system, in this tenant there are till 10, 10, 40, 59 calculated fields created by people like us. Here you can see we know all the calculated field which has been created in the system. But these are system wide calculated fish, not report specific calculated foods. Here you will be able to explore this business object. Then the field name, there is the field name, that the field type. You know what exactly those field types are for the single instance numeric boolean, anything. Then the function which has been used to create that calculated field. Then you have show in main prompts. That's a options. Then here you have edit and delete functionality. You can see this, we know this. There is one option edit. There you have some button, but in delete there is no button. Basically if that calculated field is being used, and all of these calculated fields are being used somewhere in the system. That's why I mean it is not giving you the options to delete. Now let's say in system there is one calculated field which is not being used anywhere in the system. You will be able to see delete options as well, and you can delete that calculated field. Here, if you go to related field, if you go to the related action of this field, nobody has your CF before. Generally, that is a tradition. We should be using CF in the initial of calculated field name. And here, if you see the details here, if you see, here itself it is saying calculated field. Look up related value, see if this is a maintained calculated field. All these fields are calculated field only. But let's say, when you are creating a report, you are trying to type, leave of absence request, you will be having multiple leave of absence request. Which there, you need to click on this related action, and you need to understand which one is delivered and which one is user defined calculated fields. That's how we know you are going to, distinguish. Basically, now you know the calculated fields. You know how to maintain the calculated field. This is maintained calculated fields. You know how to convert. Calculate the 4 specific calculated field in the system wide calculated field. The next day, tomorrow, what we are going to discuss is we are going to create calculated field. We are going to design calculated field. We have almost 32 functions in calculated field for specific purposes. We have for numeric purpose, then text purpose, then some organization date lookup boolean instance. There are many calculated field types we have. Tomorrow we will start create. We will start creating calculated for each and every functions today. You won't. Today, I think I already gave you one activity, right? Like you need to create advanced support, enable that. At advanced support as a web service letter, after creating a custom report and see the differences. For today, you will be having, those activities only, and you can also, create calculated. You can try to create a calculated field for any custom report. Just try to create the post specific calculated field. Try to convert that report specific calculated field in the system wide calculated field. Then explore maintain calculated field for report tasks mentoring. Then also explore maintain calculated filters. There are 2 tasks, maintain calculated field and maintain calculated field for reporters. Just explore tomorrow when we will actually create calculated field. Then you will be having a lot of activities tomorrow for each and every functions. You will be having activities. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.